Imagine getting your monthly cell phone bill, and you're on a strict, no-nonsense budget. Your plan is exactly 20 bucks a month for 60 minutes of calling, plus 30 cents for every single extra minute you talk.
So here's the real-world problem we're dropping right into today. How do you guarantee your bill stays strictly under $50? You can't just guess, and you definitely don't want a bill that hits exactly $50 either. You want to know the absolute maximum number of minutes you can safely use. This right here is exactly why mastering inequalities matters. It literally saves you money. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to set up and solve that exact problem mathematically. We're going to build your toolkit step by step. I promise that in just a few minutes, you'll confidently understand interval notation, you'll be able to solve linear and compound inequalities, and you're going to totally unlock the logic behind absolute values.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, Decoding Interval Notation.
So, how do we actually speak math when there isn't just one single answer? I mean, in real life, boundaries are rarely just one number, right? Think about needing a college GPA of 3.5 or above to make the honor roll. It's a range. To express that range, we use something called interval notation. The absolutely crucial difference here is between a bracket and a parenthesis. If our honor roll requires exactly a 3.5 or higher, we show that inclusion with a hard square bracket. But if a number is not included, or if we're talking about infinity, which, isn't a reachable number anyway, we use a soft, rounded parenthesis. Let's make this easier with a quick example. Look at how an inequality translates visually. If we say x is greater than or equal to 4, we can write that out in set builder notation, sure, but check out the far right. In interval notation, we write this as a bracket, the number 4, a comma, the infinity symbol, and then a parentheses. That bracket literally means, hey, we start exactly at 4 and include it, while the parentheses next to infinity tells us we just keep going forever. Moving right along to Section 2, solving linear inequalities and the golden rule. Now that we've got a solid grip on how to write our answers, let's get into the algebra. For the most part, solving inequalities is exactly like solving regular equations. You want to isolate that variable term, and whatever you do to one side, you absolutely must do to the other. Let's say we have negative 2x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 5. Well, we add 1 to both sides to get negative 2x is greater than or equal to 6. Pretty simple, right? But here comes the catch. Okay, huge common mistake alert right here. The absolute golden rule of inequalities is this. You must reverse the inequality symbol whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number. So our equation was negative 2x is greater than or equal to 6. To get x all by itself, we divide by negative 2. Because we divided by a negative, that greater than or equal to sign flips instantly. Boom. Our final answer becomes x is less than or equal to negative 3. Now you're probably asking, wait, why does this happen? Why do we randomly flip the sign? Well, think of a number line. The number 2 is obviously less than 5, but if we multiply both of those by negative 1, we get negative 2 and negative 5. Suddenly, negative 2 is further to the right on the number line. It's actually greater than negative 5. So multiplying or dividing by a negative literally flips a position and direction on the number line, which means the relationship symbol has to reverse just to stay true. Make sense, right? Let's step it up a notch. Section 3, Mastering Compound Inequalities. We're heading into slightly more complex territory now. Compound inequalities are essentially these 2-for-1 math statements where a variable gets sandwiched between two boundaries. And there are two totally valid methods to solve a compound inequality, like 3 is less than or equal to 2x plus 2, which is less than 6. Method 1 is to literally split it into two separate problems. 3 is less than or equal to 2x plus 2, and 2x plus 2 is less than 6. Then you just solve them independently. But method 2, that's leaving it perfectly intact. This brilliantly shows the idea of balance. If you subtract 2 from the middle to isolate the x, you must subtract 2 from the left side, and you've got to subtract 2 from the right side. You have to treat all three parts fairly. Whichever method you decide to go with, you arrive at the exact same final solution. 1/2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 2. Look at how beautifully this translates over to interval notation. We read intervals from left to right just like they appear on a number line. The smaller number always comes first. So we write bracket 1/2, comma, 2 parentheses. All right, shifting gears to Section 4, Unlocking Absolute Values. I know these can look a bit intimidating at first, but they really just require a slight change in how we visualize the math.
The crucial takeaway here is this. Absolute value simply means pure distance. Period. Think about it. If you're standing at the number 5 on a number line, a distance of 4 could mean you walk 4 steps to the right or 4 steps to the left. Regardless of the direction you end up traveling, the physical distance you covered is a positive 4.
Because we can travel in two different directions, whenever you see an absolute value inequality, you must break it into two separate logical paths. Say the absolute value of x minus 5 is less than or equal to 4. We write two paths. Path 1, x minus 5 is less than or equal to positive 4. Path 2, x minus 5 is greater than or equal to negative 4. Now notice that when we set the 4 to a negative for that second path, we had to flip the inequality sign. Then you just solve them both independently. Okay, let's do a really quick retention check. Imagine your financial advisor tells you your investment returns of $600 will vary, but they're going to stay within $200. That phrase, within $200, is pure distance. That translates perfectly into math as the absolute value of x minus 600 is less than or equal to 200. You're just creating a mathematical boundary of distance.
Section 5, Real-World Applications. Let's bring it all home.
Let's connect all of this back to real life and finally solve that cell phone problem from the very beginning of this explainer. Remember the setup? A $20 base fee plus 30 cents for every single minute over 60 minutes. And our hard budget is $50. Here is exactly how we set up the equation. 20 plus 0.30 times the quantity of x minus 60 must be less than or equal to 50. Look at that! We have successfully modeled our real-life problem into a clean, linear inequality. Let's solve it step by step using those golden rules we just went over. First up, isolate the variable term by subtracting 20 from both sides. Now we have 0.30 times x minus 60 is less than or equal to 30. Next, divide both sides by 0.30. And hey, since it's a positive number, we do not flip the sign. That leaves us with x minus 60 is less than or equal to 100. Add 60 to both sides, and we get x is less than or equal to 160. And there is our answer. 160 total minutes is the absolute maximum you can talk to keep that bill securely under $50.
Before we finish up, let's do a lightning-fast summary of the 4 key principles we've mastered today. Number 1, parentheses mean not included or infinity, while brackets mean included. Number 2, the golden rule. Always, always flip the inequality sign when multiplying or dividing by a negative number. 3, treat compound inequalities fairly by doing the exact same operation to all 3 parts. And finally, 4, absolute value is simply a measure of pure distance, which means you have to create 2 separate mathematical paths to solve it. Now, I want to leave you with one final, slightly mind-bending thought to ponder. We just firmly established that absolute value represents distance, right? And distance is always 0 or positive. So, what happens if you encounter an absolute value that is set to be less than a negative number? I mean, can a distance really be less than -2? Think about that mathematical paradox for a bit, because it perfectly sets up the concepts we're going to tackle in our next explainer.